Matthew chapter 13. Somebody read 39, please.
Then he told them many things in parables, saying, Consider the sower who went out to sow. As he was sowing, some seed fell along the path, and the birds came and ate them up. Others fell on rocky ground, where there wasn't much soil, and they sprang up quickly since the soil wasn't deep. When the sun came up, they were scorched. Since they had no root, they withered. Others fell among thorns, and the thorns came up and choked them. Still others fell on good ground, produced a crop, some 100, some 60, and some 30 times what was sown. Anyone who has ears should listen.
Not everybody who sits under the Word of God has the same experience with the Word of God. Right? Not everybody that receives a sermon, it may touch them in the moment. That doesn't mean there is any long-lasting result. For some people, because they themselves are shallow, it goes away. Other people get a word in the moment. Other people, the cares of this life, as he explains later on, choke it out. As a matter of fact, that's where we're going. So, Michael, if you would, continue there. Pick it up in verse 18, please.
You then listen to the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word about the kingdom and doesn't understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what was sown in his heart. This is the one sown along the path. And the one sown on rocky ground, this is one who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. Yet he has no root in himself, but is short-lived. When pressure or persecution comes because of the word, immediately he stumbles. Now the one sown among the thorns, this is the one who hears the word, but the words of this age and the seduction of wealth choke the word, and it becomes unfruitful. But the one sown on the good ground, this is one who hears and understands the word, who does bear fruit and yields some 100, some 60, some 30 times what was sown.
Amen. Would you read verse 21 again, please?
Yet he has no root in himself, but is short-lived. When pressure or persecution comes because of the word, and immediately he stumbles.
Notice that Jesus did not say, if pressure or persecution comes because of the word. Notice that he did not say, you might face pressure or persecution because of the word. We are teaching people today that Christianity is a get-out-of-trouble-free card. But Jesus said, when pressure or persecution comes. Okay? What protects you from that? Hearing and understanding. And in part of understanding means, because notice that verse 23 says that the one is sown on the good ground, this is one who hears and understands. Understanding means that you know you're going to face pressure and persecution, and still you don't wilt. You don't wither. Okay? That's spiritual maturity. It's what we were talking about before. Okay? So there's a lot that's going on here that is germane to us today, because we see it around us all the time. In terms of people that just don't make it, people who fall by the wayside, people who struggle, all of that. Okay? It is he that endures to the end who receives the prize.
You know, as we were going through this, it also made me think about it's not just the seed and the soil, but the time that it takes for the root to develop. You know, roots just don't spring out. It takes time. And we can't discount the amount of time. So that's why sometimes when you put someone that's a young believer in charge of something, they don't have the root structure in order to be able to do what they're supposed to do.
That's exactly right. I was talking to a sister this week, and I kind of mentioned to her that for me, it was right that I did not acknowledge or accept the call to the pastorate till I was 45.
Mm.
In the church she grew up in, they want people 25, 26, they want to throw them out into ministry. And a lot of times those people don't make it for the very reason that you just described. They may be talented, they may be gifted in preaching or whatever, but that doesn't mean that they have the root structure to maintain over a long period of time. And a lot of times they grow quickly and then they fade and they take a lot of people with them. I had another sister the other day tell me that she was one of this particular well-known pastor's, she was part of his learning curve. So while he was learning and practicing on the congregation, she lost her first marriage. Okay? That's how she put it. All I could say was, wow. Because now he has a huge church and he's well known and all the rest of that. But when it was small, basically he was practicing on the parishioners, and her marriage was one of many that suffered under that.
An acceptable casualty.
Right. Well, you know, what do they call it? Yes, they're the expendable crewmen. Right. That's right. The Enterprise keeps going, but you know, you had the red shirt on that day you landed on the planet, and that plant got you.
Wow.
You know? Yeah, that's exactly right.
But we live in a culture where everything is at once. We don't appreciate the time that it takes for something to develop. We don't. Wisdom is not something that is celebrated in our culture.
Right. That's right. Tyron said it used to be. Not anymore.